traveling and visiting churches, what have you seen that maybe as a church we're missing a little bit on how we work with our worship and production teams? I feel like everybody has a little bit of different perspective, different methodology. What have you seen that maybe we could get better, or a tip that you can share with them?
So I was reading, there's a story in 2 Kings about, I think it's King Ahaz, and they pay tribute to, I think it's the Assyrian king. He goes to Damascus, and he sees this idol and this altar that's set up to this idol, and he says, send a model back. He gives it to the priest and says, we put something like this in the house of the Lord. And he comes back, and what you see after that is this mixture of worship of God and worship of these other gods happening in the house of the Lord. If there was one thing that I could say, as I'm seeing, is there's two things that I guess I would say pay attention to, and I'd say it's mixture and mimicry.
Mixture and mimicry.
Yes, where we are, instead of the church innovating and exporting, we are importing things from the world, from other churches. And so there's this mixture happening, and I'm all about best practices and learning, but not at the expense of displacing the altar of God. And so there's this mixture, and then the mimicry, which I think is the thing that the American church in particular, and I know we got people watching from all over the place, so the American church in particular, maybe it's hitting internationally, struggles with the most. We see one church do something, and we think we've got to do it the way that they do it, and instead of, just like every person has a unique DNA and identity, I believe every church has the same thing, and so don't worry about mimicking. Don't mix.
Well,
be what God has said.
I hear that. It's okay to mimic, but have purpose behind that. I mean, it's okay to say, hey, that's a great idea. And have community and talk about and share that, but don't just do it to do it.
And
this is what you're saying.
How can we do what that's something we can learn from.
That's right.
How do we do it? How do you
in our DNA
contextualize it to our culture and our place?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Because just because it worked at the church down the road
doesn't mean it's going to work.
Mean you can just drop it into your culture.
And just because it works for the biggest church, down the street, doesn't mean it's the same thing.
That's right.
They're leading a room like this, and you're leading a room of 150 or 200. You have a completely different opportunity to meet people there in your context. So
that's so good.
That's really good.
So the question, though, was about worship and production, too, right? Respect each other.
Yes.
I think I talked about this a little bit on the FILO podcast. There's this false delineation between the platform and the production teams, and I think they're both equally important as worship leaders. So pay attention to what God is speaking to the people in the booth, just like you pay attention to the things that He's speaking to the people on the platform.
You did hit it on a podcast, which highly recommend. Go listen to the FILO podcast, not just you, but all of them. Good. But yours is fantastic. But specifically, that idea, let me encourage you tech directors, don't wait for the worship leader to come to you. Get out of the booth, walk up onto the platform, and say hello. Hey, how are you doing? How was your evening? If you're at rehearsal and it's an evening, how's your rehearsal? Ask questions. And don't just come out to say their guitar's too loud. Create relationship. Right, because we're humans. It's about community. And I totally buy in. We're all one team.
100%.
We have to be.
For sure.
So
when you're in a position of leadership, and I say like our senior pastors who are trying to comprehend, you have these two groups of people who are either very highly technical and their eye is on, we want to hit excellence with this certain, and then worship in a certain way. What's the best way for them to lead through that and cast a vision that will be easy for the teams to contextualize into? What does that look for production? What does that look for worship? So anything that you could share for
the senior leaders that may be watching?
Because they're interacting with their senior pastors. So I think a lot of what we've had conversations of how do we lead up? How can we, even like the culture of feedback, we want feedback, but how do we want to receive it and how it's helpful? So I think a little bit of both. How can our senior leaders do that, and how can we lead up in those conversations? Yeah,
that's a great question. And I think one of the best skills to learn as a leader, before you try to cast vision, learn to carry it. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we go into environments and we're like, I got great ideas and I can't wait to put my fingerprint on this thing, but we've not built up the trust and the equity. And even if you see something and you know what, I see this all the time in the coaching that both in the ministry side and in the marketplace, because I get to sit in both lanes. Even if you see exactly what the solution is, you can't just lead with it and say, well, this is what we need to do. If you're married, try that with your spouse and see how well it goes.
It doesn't work.
Newsflash, don't try that with your spouse.
Work.
But if you learn to carry vision, I remember early on in my ministry, I had a senior pastor. He'd call me 15, 20 minutes before rehearsal started and change a song, change a key, flip things, and by responding with a yes, and yes, sir, we got it. We got you covered. If that's where we need to go. The more I said yes, the wider my influence got, and the more broadly he allowed us to so you learn to carry vision. It gives you permission to be able to cast it. So you lead up by going low, by submitting and trusting God, even if it's not your favorite outcome, even if it's not the thing that you see in your mind. Good. Learn to carry it, and then you'll set yourself up to be able to cast it well.
That's so good. That's really good. You work for Slingshot, which is a staffing agency. If you're not familiar, here in the States.
Staffing and coaching.
Staffing and coaching.
In North America.
In North America.
United States and Canada.
But, so what are you, let's get real practical.
Yeah.
You're connecting churches and production people and worship leaders and pastors. What's the skill that churches are looking for as they hire people? Hey, I need these people to grow in this. That will help them be more hireable.
For most of the artist side of things, I would say it's people leadership, learning to pastor people. Now, it's funny, God has a really great sense of humor because, all of the churches, when I was on a church staff, they're anywhere from like 8 to 30,000. Okay, so these are huge rooms, huge teams, and I'm an introvert. Okay, through and through, I register in every personality test an introvert. And so God's like, I got a really great idea. Let's put you in front of thousands of people and interfacing. But it is the most important thing, I think, for us as creatives and artists to remember that it's not about the art. The art is important, the creativity is important, but the people are what matter. And so when I find actually people stepping into roles and it's not working out, most of the time it's not a competency in their performance, because that often gets them in the door. It's their inability to care for people and to pastor people, to be present. So get out of the green room, get into the lobby, get out of the control room, get into the lobby, walk through the rooms of the church and connect with, and it's not just the people that are coming to attend, it's also the people on your team. If you're a worship leader, you should know the names of your team and know what's happening. If you're a production leader, same thing. Get to know your graphics operator. Get to know the people that are serving and being equipped for ministry. Know them not just for what they do, but for who they are.
We're smiling because that's been a common theme and thread.
Look at that.
Through, you didn't even know. You haven't watched any of our content, but it's about the people.
Yes.
It's community over tasks.
Yes.
Right.
I pay attention whenever I hear the same things over and over and over again from different spaces. It's a really good idea to pay attention to that because God is trying to get something.
And I think that's kind of it's just a new wave of what production ministry looks like. And it's not just a production team or a production group of people that are really good at technology, but you're seeing more and more that people want to be around care. They want to be care and a lot of them, you're coming out of COVID where you had no contact.
Right.
And people are craving that. Like, how do I add value? How can I be of value? So it's great that we're seeing that connection between everybody that we've spoken with in the last 2 days. So
that's really good.
I'm excited to see what God's going to do in the next season.
It is very good. So you, I won't say your age. That's impolite, but you're a little more wiser. You're having.
I'm not that old, Wes. I'm 40. I'm just 40.
I'm 46.
I'm a millennial. Through and through. Yes, I am. I bought my first pair of crew socks last week because my son was like, "Dad, you've got to stop wearing the nose." I'm like, nose. They wanted me to get out of skinny jeans and no-show socks.
Yes.
Come on, guys.
Right.
Anyways, all the Gen Z
if you were having we've asked this a couple. If you were having coffee with your younger self. What's the one or two things you tell yourself?
Ooh, that's
to
just one or two.
Well, right.
So the first thing I'd say to younger Brian would be you're really good at the performance.
Okay.
You're really good at that side of things. You've worked really hard on your gift. But at the end of the day, it's just not about that. It's not that that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's that your gift will take you to rooms that you can't sustain if your character is not growing at the same. If your spiritual maturity and growth is not growing at the same rate as your your gifting or whatever that is, if it's on a platform or wherever. And when that was out of balance, I had a very successful ministry, but I felt like my marriage, my private life was just not nearly as successful because I was really good at doing the things I got applause for. And so the first thing I would be like, hey, yes, keep working on your craft. It's important. But Psalm 78:72 describes David and says, David led with integrity of heart and skillful hands. We got to put those two together. The second thing I would say is don't take it so seriously. Here's what I mean by that. Is when you're in it, it's like your eyes can't see anything else but. And sometimes that's really good. Other times it causes you to over-focus on things and forget things that God might be speaking on. So slow down. All the churches you're serving are going to keep, long after you're gone, they're going to keep the very next Sunday. There will still be service
when you're not there.
The team will still be there. And so, like, slow down. Like, it's more than doing less. It's lift your eyes up and actually enjoy what God is doing. And listen to the stories and take a moment to celebrate what God has done before. I'm a high achiever, Enneagram 3 type. And so I'm like always on to the next thing. And the Lord has just taught me, hey, did you see what just happened? Go back there and take a moment to remember, reflect, and then move forward with confidence. So those top two things probably right now as we speak today.
I love it. Well, and that's so good for